Hey folks, Matt Peck here, and so we're doing just a quick review of the week. It was not a great week trading. It was a great week trading. I did not take a ton of trades. My work schedule was just nuts, so I ended up taking a lot of other stuff I had to do, priorities and whatnot. But we're still going to go through and look and see how the week actually went. So, one second, let's share this screen. All right. So things to talk about this week. There was tons of news on different days, Thursday and Friday, and you can obviously watch how the markets adjusted and changed to it. I'm going to be interested to see how this week actually cuts off because just with the yields and the dollar pumping the way it is, I think it could be a bit of a volatile week, which is good. We like volatility; it gives us entry and exit opportunities. So let's see. On Bitcoin, there were no trades that I took, none for Ethereum, none for any crypto pairs actually, which is fine. Crypto is fun for the weekends. On gold, I was originally looking for, I had AGBs for some for some buy opportunities, and what ended up looking like on Monday or Sunday into Monday, it just massively sold off into these lows. So this was a good area to buy for it, but then this area here became a rejection zone. So I actually got into it here at the end of Tuesday or beginning or middle of Tuesday, and I stayed in it longer than I should have. I should have got out elsewhere. I did write it out just because I felt like it was going to continue coming down. My original zone I wanted was the 2300. It just was my area that I wanted to come back down and retest. It did not. So I ended up getting out here on Wednesday night before I went to bed at 11 p.m. On this nice big spike down. So it still ended up being almost a 3-to-1, but just wasn't my zone. I still do feel that we're going to come back down and test 2,300. But we're going to see what happens. Gold's so volatile, especially geopolitical stuff. So all stuff going to Mid East and over in Russia and all that stuff. So I think we're going to actually open. My opinion is that on today, we're actually going to open with a gap, and it's going to end up being higher. I did take another scalp right here. It was kind of fun because it was 8 a.m. and then this was news day. At 10:30 a.m. it spiked down. And that's where I got out. It was a really fast 1.5%, like a very fast 1.5%. So I wasn't upset with those. Are my two major trades for the week. Silver, once again, I'm still marking silver up when I see things, but it's just not my primary trading goal. But obviously, it looks a lot like gold does. So watching that. US 30 earnings this week. So it was very, very volatile in what it was, but it was not on our list for AGBs. Same thing for NASDAQ. NASDAQ I had marked up as a maybe, just to kind of play and see what it does. There's zones in here that we're testing that are lower. The NAS came off this massive high streak, not long ago, and it's doing a correction right now. So we'll kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. Euro USD, I had some zones marked up inside here. Originally, was looking for sales opportunities, and we got these nice pumps up. And once we broke through these areas of resistance here, it started using it as a nice little area to springboard off of. These were great buyers. I didn't take anything, but these were still great areas for it to come into, and as it's still doing there. We were really expecting, if you notice, a lot of these are marked for red, as in we're looking for sales. The thing was, is we started the week off here, and it just pumped all the way up to the beginning, to the end of the week there. So I think what we're going to end up seeing now is we'll see the reversal come back down from the dollar, and that being that the dollar is pumping up very big right now. So I think we're going to get some pullbacks this week. So we'll play it by ear and see how it goes. But USD JPY, that was massively done. This was Japan, Bank of Japan talking about their interest rates. USD CAD. So we had some zones that were marked up in here. You can tell I had, this was a possible sell area, and this was a possible sell area. This was actually a markup that came through. It was sent out on Tuesday. Not that this had to be taken, because this would make case it would be missed, but if you were to stretch it out, you can see that it had a couple different times the opportunities that it could have played out inside of it. So it was given out early as a zone of area interest. And if you look at it, it did actually come back and play in those zones. So I did not take it, but it was still existent. It was sent out, I think, by Mike. So AUD USD. So this was the buy area I was looking for. And obviously it did come back off of it. Now, considering last week we were looking for sales, this week with the dollar acting like it did, everything pumped to it. So we're going to see what happens this week. Same thing for NZUSD. We're really once again expecting for the dollar to continue in strength, but I think just this massive pullbacks that it's had across all these pairs are now trying to recover some of their losses, and we'll see what happens this week for it. GJ didn't take anything. Once again, I didn't take a whole lot this week. It was just absolute bonkers for me. And then this one we were actually looking for buys, so there's some good opportunities inside of here. There were some really good calls on sci-fi that came across the board. I didn't get a chance to take a lot of them. Once again, just things I was working on. GBP CAD, so this was a sell area that we had marked up. It came up to it. It was a great zone to take inside of it, but once again, I was preoccupied, so I did not get to do a lot. This area for a GBP AUD, this week we were actually looking for buys, so we had our pullbacks here. So still going to see what happens and see if we get our buys this week on it as it changes pattern a little bit. Like I said, it just was not an exciting week for me personally. This is a ton of consolidation in your NZD USD. So this is just, we were looking for buys at pullback here. So there were some good zones that there were some really big pop-ups. This pair typically moves during hours I'm not awake though. And so not a fan of always setting pendings, but we let it go. And that was really about it. Like I said, there was a couple pairs like CAD, JPY, because the yen acted like it did. We were looking for buys, and then it kind of came across the board Friday as these pairs were there. So this was one sci-fi trade that got called out. Purple zone being we were looking for buys this week, obviously in that. It didn't play out here, but if we look at it, it came across it. But the way sci-fi works is you're actually taking trades based on hours. So this ended up being a break even as it was earlier in the week. And Mondays typically not days you trade sci-fi, but why not? So all that to say, it was a very slow week. Did get some trades in on gold. Typically if I'm trading gold, like it's the pair I'm watching, I'm not watching too many other things just for me. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get ready for another week. I'm going to unflag all of these. Bam, bam. So much extra work. I think someone's trying to get in my door. Tyler's man. So now that we've got that kind of done, we're going to go through, we'll set for the 1 hour, we'll turn on a DLO and see what it looks like. So if we're looking at crypto to start with, so on the 1 hour, crypto is looking, or Bitcoin is looking very, very bearish. Here for this week, we have an AGB. If we check on the 4 hour though, on the 4 hour, it's not quite there. The 200 EMA is still way down here. So, this is going to continue to not be a traded pair for me, unless I just happen to see something coming across the board. It just looks like a smoking good shot. Ethereum is going to be the same way. There's no AGB on 1 hour. Gold. So if we're looking at gold right now, it's a non-traded pair. The 50 EMA did break through here, but we still have the 200 EMA, which is way down here in a buy zone. So we'll kind of keep an eye on it. Gold much less than the AGBs. Gold is very price action driven, so we'll kind of keep an eye on some of the zones. We'll do some markups for it later. Silver, there is no AGB for it on the 1 hour. US 30. So US 30 is kind of an AGB because it technically is below this one in a sell position. But with the way it's kind of dipped down for this massive J strike and come back up, I'm going to put it as a maybe on the 1 hour. The 4 hour, I know it's not going to be there. Yeah, so 4 hours not even there. The 200 EMA is low. So we're going to put it on a maybe category. We'll take a look at it and see if something comes across it. I got to look and see what news is happening this week anyway. NAS, it's a no pair. SPX, no pair. Oil. So oil on the 1 hour looks good. Looks like we had a nice little sell-off in these areas zone here. Let's look and see what the 4 hour looks like. Nope, no trade. There'll probably be some pairs that come across, and if you look at, if I'm looking at, let's see. If we're looking at this, looking at Go Social and the way that it was last week, guys like Mike had some pairs last possible setups that were on Friday. What he's looking for next week is AUD USD, Euro USD. He did have some stuff he had some other calls that I did not catch. USD Chef, he had an oil trade that looked really, really good. If we look at it here, he had the zones marked up on it. So once again, Mike's being a price action trader. Had tons of other good stuff that was there. It's just a matter of, what did you catch? What did you not catch? Kind of things on it. So oil is a no on AGB. So if we go back, we'll kind of keep going through. Euro USD is a no trade pair. The 50 came back up. And this is what I was talking about last week when we did our AGBs. We were looking for these to continue selling downward. So we wanted to pull up and then pull back down. So what may end up happening is, because I have a feeling all these USD pairs are going to be this way, the 50 EMA dropped down like we wanted it to do. This is why we had our zones marked up. But now that 50s pull back up and break through, we may get a sell-off and then he'll continue back downward. But we're going to kind of play those by ear and see what they look like. So like AGB is still good on this pair. On the 4 hour, this pair is still looking bearish. So we're going to have to look at this a little bit differently this week, and not just go off AGBs to pick our pairs, because I think all of our USD pairs are going to be this way, where they're like, oh, this looks great. And then obviously it broke through here and it's working its way down. CAD the other week had these massively huge spikes up into these zones. And so this is possibly part of the correction. We'll see what happens with the dollar. With the yen being so low, a lot of volume is coming into dollar, which is why you had such a massive spike for it on Friday. So some of these pairs are looking pretty good, but we're going to play them by ear because, once again, the yen is looking super weak. So all of our pairs against the yen are just looking, yeah. So actually, guys, I'm not going to do these right now. I'm going to do these later. I've got a couple things I got to do for the day. But anyway, so it was a very slow week last week. One thing that was cool is our bot did fantastic last week, especially on Euro USD. Did check out some great trades on some accounts. So there's always like passive income that comes through. So anyway, that's all I got for this week, guys. Very slow, very, very, I won't say uneventful. It was not our best week. Any trade is better than no trade, and trades that we had, we won. So we'll take that as a win. Got some percentages in, but I'm going to mark up these, and then I'm going to do some price action markups later too, not just base it off AGBs. AGBs are great because that's how SciFi operates. So like I'll show you this real fast. If we look here, and then here. Oh, actually, we'll do that later. Thanks, guys.